Ms. Aaron, we're going to go ahead and do you first. We're going to go ahead and call to order the caucus meeting this evening. We want to welcome you all once more into the chamber. Before we begin, we have a presentation tonight by Councilwoman Ann Dickinson.
So I'd like to take a minute tonight to recognize Gun Violence Survivors Week, and which was last week, but we want to recognize the work that so many in our community are doing. Chief among them, these lovely women from Moms Demand Action, who are working to take care of gun violence survivors in our community. And I'm just going to give you this, and I will read it. Whereas every year about 76,000 Americans are shot and wounded by firearms, and another 43,000 lose their lives because of gun violence, be it suicide, homicide, shootings of or by law enforcement, mass shootings, or unintentional shootings. And whereas the #1 cause of death for children and teens in our nation is gun violence, and whereas a gun violence survivor is anyone who has personally experienced gun violence, whether they have witnessed an act of gun violence, been threatened, shot at, or wounded with a gun, or had someone they know and cared about wounded or killed. And whereas, while gun violence impacts the lives of millions of Americans, it does not impact all communities or families equally. 59% of adults in America, including 71% of Black adults or someone they care about, have experienced gun violence in their lifetime. And whereas, since 2017, Summit County has seen an increase in gun homicides, averaging now 39 deaths per year, with 74% of those victims being Black males. And whereas over 4.5 million women who are alive today report having been threatened with a firearm by their intimate partner, and 1 million have been shot or shot at by their partner. And whereas many families find their lives changed forever in a matter of seconds by gun violence, a loved one who is killed may leave behind children or a spouse to be cared for. A loved one who is wounded may need special care and accommodations for the rest of their life, or may be emotionally wounded forever. And whereas by commemorating Gun Violence Survivors Week, Summit County Council honors all victims of gun violence and raises awareness of the many challenges faced by survivors in our communities. We recognize efforts in the community to help survivors meet their unique challenges, especially peer support groups such as the Survivors Network of Moms Demand Action in Akron. Now, therefore, be it known by all and declared by the Council of the County of Summit, State of Ohio, that this council declares January 22nd through January 26, 2024 to have been Gun Violence Survivors Week. We renew our commitment to reduce gun violence and pledge to support policies and practices that encourage responsible gun ownership and keep firearms out of the hands of those who are a danger to themselves or others. Thank you for all the work that you do, and we take very seriously the responsibility we have to do what we can to help make our community a better place.
Thank you for partnering with us in the gun buyback at Arlington Church of God and the House of the Lord last year. And thank you for helping to make sure that newborn babies' parents learn how to keep their guns safe.
Yes, I don't know if everyone knows about this, but our Department of Health has been working with Moms Demand Action to get gun safety information out with all birth certificates in the County of Summit, information about safe storage and how we can help protect the most vulnerable people in our society.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
I just want to say that we have co-leads for the organization. That's Lynn and I for both Stark and Summit County. But we also have a lead for the Survivor Network, and she has the flu tonight. So it would have been her to accept this as Angela Dodson. So thank you.
Well, we appreciate all of your efforts, and we hope you'll let her know that we appreciate it as well.
Thank you so much.
Take a picture?
Aaron.
Do you want to join us? We'd love it. Yes.
So we might as well get me in the picture.
Thank you.
Come on, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being chair of the Public Safety Committee.
Yes, thank you. See you where you're at today.
So once again, welcome to the chambers. Tonight we have 13 motions. We have 17 first reads. We have 3 first read passage requests and 1 late file. First, we have M008 2024. I know we have several appointments for this lovely person. We are so happy tonight to have in our chamber for the first time in your new role as our Summit County Clerk of Courts, the Honorable Tavia Galansky. We're going to ask her to come up and say a few words. Can we welcome her here?
Thank you. So I am Tavia Galansky, your Summit County Clerk of Courts, and I'm very grateful for the honor of being appointed to the boards listed. I believe my legal background and my experience in policy will help me to be a worthy member. I have a personal relationship with all of you, and I look forward to continuing that relationship, working with counsel. But I'm also helped along in that role with my Chief of Staff, LaToya Jones, who brings 25 years of service at the Clerk of Courts, and then also with Anthony Gomez, who is my Deputy Chief of Legal and Title, who comes to us from the Cuyahoga Mayor's Court. So thank you very much. I look forward to working with you, and thanks again.
Thank you, Honorable. I'm sure with every committee you'll be a good addition. We also have with us tonight, being appointed to the Child Fatality Review Board, Ms. Jill Spellman and Ms. Jill Odom. I should say Oldham.
Hi, I'm Jill Spillman. I'm the Special Initiatives Manager at the Akron Metropolitan Housing Authority. I've been there about 10 years and previously oversaw our early childhood initiative, so this is going to be a good fit. Not the most positive subject, but I think that it's important for housing to be in that conversation, so we're thankful for letting us stay on.
Good evening. I'm Jill Oldham with Greenleaf Family Center. I've been there since about mid-October, but took over January 1st for Dawn Glennie, who retired at the end of the year. So I'll be serving in the CEO capacity of the organization. I'm really pleased that we were able to keep this seat on the Child Fatality Review Board. I know it was something Dawn advocated for, and so I'm sure she will be pleased to know that we're still going to be continuing in this work. The Moms and Babies First program has been a cornerstone at Greenleaf for a number of years, and so I know I have a lot to learn in this capacity, but we have a team of folks in the organization who I know will help inform what I'm learning and bring it back to the organization as well. So thank you.
Thank you, both Jills, for your willingness to serve. Again, I know that you'll be an excellent addition to the advisory board. Thank you so much. We have the Honorable Allison McCarthy, who is being appointed to the Criminal Justice Advisory Board. Want to come up and say a few words?
Good afternoon. I didn't know I was going to be speaking, but that's okay. I just want to thank you so much. It's my honor to serve as the administrative judge this year and to accept this appointment to the Criminal Justice Advisory Board. As you know, we have many complex matters dealing with all the problems related to criminal justice. So I'm happy to lend whatever advice I can give and try to help. So I'm willing to work with any of you, and also just want to let you know that my door is always open, and you can always call me if you have any informal questions you want to ask, or if you have some issue with the court that you want to talk about. I'm happy to do so. Anyone who wants to come and talk to the judges, just give us a call, and we'll set you up to come to a meeting if you'd like. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Judge McCarthy. Last, we have Program Review Committee. The Honorable Sheriff Candy Fowlerly. Yes.
Good evening. It's good to see all of you again. I don't get to see you very often, but I always enjoy the opportunity to be in front of you. I want to thank you for the appointment to the 911 committee. Obviously, with the sheriff's office and us having just made all the changes with our 911 center, I have been intricately involved in that process for the last couple of years. So I just wanted to say thank you. I think that our 911 center is a very important part of the county, and being on the commission is very important to myself. Being able to lend that voice and just sharing the knowledge. But thank you again for the appointment.
Thank you, Sheriff Valerie. I'm sure you'll be an excellent addition to the committee. Thank you so much. 2024-017, we have Lori Pesci to address council tonight.
Good evening, Lori Pesci, Executive's Office, Department of Public Safety. Before you is an agreement with Greenleaf Family Center. The reason we're coming to council for first reading passage is they are providing assessment services for the court, particularly for specialty docket courts, and their contract expired at the end of last year. The court is in the process of putting together an RFP. They had not finalized it by the end of the year last year, so we are extending Greenleaf's contract through the next 6 months while the court finishes that RFP process.
Thank you, Ms. Pesci. Any questions from members of council?
Yes.
Mark, after the 6 months, will Greenleaf still have the same contract? Will it still be private?
I'm assuming they're going to respond to the RFP, and yeah, it'll go out. So.
Any other questions from members of council? Hearing none, are you good with that, Ms. Dickinson? Thank you, Ms. Pesci.
Madam President, if I might, Alex Burt is here with me. She's a staff attorney in my office, and I just wanted to bring her along to council. She'll be presenting on behalf of my office in different instances, so thank you.
Thank you. Wave to us. Thank you so much. 2024-018, we have Ms. Greta Johnson to address council.
Thank you, Madam President. I would defer to you if you would like to take the lead on this. It's my understanding that you wanted to co-sponsor with the executive.
So grand. So it's always my pleasure to co-sponsor the resolution acknowledging February as Black History Month. You know, we have a lot to celebrate in this country from the distance from which we've come, even right here in this county. And I'll take a point of privilege to point out the Honorable Tavia Galansky, who is the first African-American to serve in an executive position in the County of Summit since its inception. And so we are grateful for the progress that we've made, not only, again, in this country, but in the County of Summit, but we also realize there's still a lot of work to do. I'm so appreciative that we do take the time to illuminate, although I do concur that Black history is American history, but there's something to be said about taking a real deeper, closer look at the contributions and the challenges that, in spite of all the challenge, we still have made some progress, but we realize there's still much work for us to do. I'm really excited about the work that is happening. I'm sure we're all familiar with the breaking of ground of the Sojourner Truth Plaza in 2022. We're excited that as early as May, I think, Ms. Johnson, that plaza will be unveiled. And so I'm really excited that, you know, this project is so significant, not only to this community, but I think across the country, and that it's happening right here in Summit County, and that we help lead the charge is a beautiful thing. So I'm hopeful of two things. I'm hopeful you all will be out in May for the unveiling, but I really hope that this February that you would be intentional about trying to engage to learn more about the history, the challenges, and the many contributions made by Black Americans to this community and the community across the nation. So thank you.
I was just going to point out that May 29th is the date for the grand opening. It's the Wednesday after Memorial Day, and it coincides with the date of her famous speech given in Akron.
Thank you. We have council as a whole. Thank you. 2024-019, we have Mr. Phil Montgomery to address council.
Thank you, Madam President. Phil Montgomery from the Executive's Department of Finance and Budget. We have this cycle's appropriation legislation before council. The first two items are the appropriation of pass-through funds for the tuberculosis grant and consumer affairs. The next item is an appropriation for a contract previously approved by council for an architecture study for the relocation of early voting out to the job center. The last item on page 1 is appropriation for ballot printing equipment for the Board of Elections. This is going to be included in the capital improvement program that is going to be read into council tonight, but they have a timing issue with getting this equipment purchased, so we wanted to pull it out and appropriate this separately. On to page 2, the Economic Development Administration. Last week, council heard from the Greater Akron Chamber. This is appropriating funds for the additional increase into that contract. Half of it was already appropriated by council before. Emergency management, this is just an appropriation of revenue that's required for EMA for a grant. The next two items are the operating budget and the facilities budget for the computer assisted dispatch, aided dispatch. Alternative corrections, this is an increase in appropriation for the Oriana contract that council approved last week. The next couple of items are grant appropriations for public safety and EMA. On the bottom of page 4, we have an appropriation of available cash in the Foreign Trade Zone Fund for the Department of Development. Top of page 5, this is the first year of 2 for the Healthy Aging Grant with Direction Home. Council previously approved the $8 million agreement with them, so appropriating those funds. The HUD grant for the Lead Safe grant appropriation is next. The last one, ERA2, this is an appropriation of funds to finish that program up, which is before council tonight as a late filing first reading passage. Flipping over to page 6, we have several grants under the Sheriff's Office, which continues through page 7. Page 8, a new grant, or a renewed grant for the Psychodiagnostic Clinic for the Court of Common Pleas General Division. We have the Domestic Relations Division received a couple of extra dollars at year end to close out that grant, so we need to appropriate those funds. On to page 9, the Surface Water Management District. This is the program that council previously approved, so this is their operating budget for 2024. We have a right-of-way acquisition appropriation for the engineer's office for $50,000. And then the last 2 pages is an adjustment, net zero adjustment for Children's Services. When council passed their budget, it all went into the administrative organization code, and this is them rolling those budgets down to the sub-accounts. So it's a net zero, it's just moving it out of the admin bucket and into the various buckets for their departments. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Phil. Councilwoman.
Just curious, I know I'm seeing a couple moves here for the ARPA and CARES money. What's our deadline for moving the rest of that money? Like,
So
when would you spend it by?
the ARPA funds have to be committed by 2024 and expensed by 2026. So we're in great shape with those spends. CARES is done. The original CARES program, that is all wrapped up, final reported in with the Department of Treasury. ARPA, everything's on target, but again, the obligation and the expenditures of the funds come with the original requirements there. The one in here for emergency rental assistance, we received emergency rental assistance 1, which, if council will recall, our original allocation for that was about $16 million. Then the state reached out to us and asked if we could spend an additional 2.4, which we did. Then they came back and said, can you do another 50 million? And we said, no. We took 15 and we're able to spend about 8 million of that. So ERA 1 is done. Holly has submitted the final report for that. The remaining dollars there will need to go back to the Treasury. They've already sent us the thing to start that process. But ERA 2, which is what these funds are, those go through 2025. And this really is, and Holly will talk about it when we talk about the first reading passage, but essentially Community Action had opened the application portal, and these are just residual applications that were in the system already that they've run out of funds for, and we still have some remaining, so we're able to work with them to clear out that backlog for anybody that's eligible.
Any other questions from members of council? Hearing none, are you good with that, Mr. Donofrio? Thank you. 2024-034. We have Ms. Holly Miller to address council.
Holly Miller, Department of Community and Economic Development. Phil kind of stole all my thunder, so. So Community Action opened up the portal to take new applications for emergency rental assistance on August 12th and 13th, and they got thousands of applications. They worked through them, got through the end of them, and there were still about 1,200 that they were unable to review to process. They reached out to Phil to see if the county had any money, and we do have some ERA2 funds that we could spend. What we've done is we have told them to take those 1,200 applicants and put them basically into my queue in Storehouse. From there, I have a team that is reviewing the applications for eligibility, both income and if they have housing instability. We have weeded out the double applications. We have weeded out the people that are ineligible for assistance because they've already received the maximum allowed through ERA1 and the reallocated funds, which is 18 months. We've also weeded out the homeowners and the individuals that are not current on their property taxes. So that left us with about 600 applications that we are reaching out to the tenants and the landlord to see if they still need assistance. What that dollar assistance looks like, we're still figuring out. People only sometimes have 2 to 3 months left. Once we get through these applications, if there happens to be any funding left, we will be able to assist people through a Unite Us referral system. What this contract is for Community Action to pay the landlords. So the county doesn't want to write checks to individual landlords, much like we did in ERA1 and the reallocation funds as we had United Way issue those checks to the landlords and then 1099s at the end of the year. Community Action would do that for us this time. There's no admin fee for them to do it. We are doing all the income qualifying, all the verifying of what rent is due, making sure that the leases are real and legit. And then we will send a spreadsheet weekly to Community Action. They will then write a check or do an ACH to the landlord. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Holly. Any questions?
On the leases, is there a minimum month remaining on a lease that qualifies or disqualifies somebody? So for example, there's 2 months left on the lease, that doesn't.
A lot of the times it's written in that it'll convert to a month-to-month lease.
Holly, what do we do when we've utilized these funds and people still have rent? Where does the money come from?
Well, we won't have any money. We send them to 211 to see if there would be any TANF money or any other funding sources available. 211 can put them into the Unite Us system. Sometimes Catholic Charities, Salvation Army has funding available. But after these funds are spent, we won't have any additional funds for the rent.
Ballpark have the number of people we touched paying rent over the last few years?
Oh, I can get you that. We have it in a nice little dashboard I can send to you. Yeah.
There seems to be a lot of people in need, or a lot of people, I don't know, not working, or you have other ways of helping.
Well, every time that we assist anybody with rent, we also send them all the information on Ohio Means Jobs so that they know where they can go to get employment assistance, help with their resume, job searching. So we give them that flyer as well. But I can send Mark the link to the dashboard so you all can see where we spent the ERA money. We have it down by zip code and the amount that was spent in each zip code.
Yeah, I'm not questioning the need, but it's just, what's the extra step besides just paying rent? And you just answered it. Thank you.
Mr. Montgomery?
Yeah, I would only add that to what Holly said, we'll essentially go back to pre-pandemic services and programs that we've had. But since then, like JFS and the Bridges Out of Poverty program and things like that, are new programs that Terry and her team have in place to help people that, maybe they've got to step up in terms of the next level of employment or hourly, and so they were short on their rent, and now we can do the this program to help kind of bridge that gap on the rental piece of it as well. So we have the original programs that go through 211 and go through other JFS contracts, but since then we do have some new ones. But it's all through that referral portal, and we can get them lined up to anything that is available.
Very good, thank you.
Just for members of council, the team in Ohio Means Jobs and Department of Job and Family Services over at the building on East Talmadge Avenue, our administrative offices for family problems are literally tucked in the corner right there. And I gotta tell you, those ladies and gentlemen over there are nonstop, every day, and it's a very detailed process. I mean, they are really working with people, not just, hi, how are you, sit down, fill out this form. I mean, they are really working with them, challenging to get as much out of the process as they can. So it is really a well-run program.
Ms. McKinney?
Thank you, Madam President. And just to comment on that, I know they often provide transportation as well, so they try to really remove any barriers for people being able to find employment. Thank you for the overview. I thought that was very thorough. But I do have a question, and you may have covered this. Do they have to actually be delinquent on rent to be eligible?
Yes, we don't pay anything going forward.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from members of council? Are you good with this, Ms. Darrow? Yes. Thank you. Again, tonight we have 13 motions. We have 17 first reads. We have 3 first read passage requests, 1 late filing, also a first read passage request, routine legislation found on page 8 through 10, no second or third read. We will now rise for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilman John Schmidt, followed by a moment of silence. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Schmidt.
Here.
Ms. Hyham.
Here.
Mr. Donofrio. Here. Mr. DeVitas. Ms. Dickinson.
Here.
Ms. Sims.
Here.
Mr. Wilhite.
Here.
Ms. Darrow.
Here.
Ms. Rogers.
Here.
Ms. McKinney.
Here.
Ms. Walters.
Here. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes from January 8th, 2024?
So moved.
A motion from Mr. Smith to approve meeting minutes from January 28th, 2024. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Motions for council. M003-2024, a motion of council confirming the appointment of Kevin Parrish, replacing Dave Gordon, to the Information Technology Advisory Committee.
So moved.
Ms. Walter moves on M003, 2024. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
M-004-2024, a motion of council confirming the appointment of Andrew Berry as alternate for Lori Pesci, replacing Deborah Matz, to the Emergency Management Executive Committee.
I have a motion by Ms. Rogers on M004, 2024. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
M-005-2024, a motion of council confirming the appointment of Brian Harnack as alternate to Diane Miller-Dawson, replacing Deborah Matz, and the reappointment of Mike Vinay as alternate to Executive Eileen Shapiro to the Summit Akron Solid Waste Management Authority Board.
Who said that? Mr. Wilhite moved on M005, 2024. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
M-006-2024, a motion of council confirming the appointment of Brian Harnack, replacing Deborah Matz, to the Law Library Resources Board.
So moved.
Ms. Walters moves on M006, 2024. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
M-007-2024, a motion of council confirming the reappointment of Executive Eileen Shapiro, Diane Miller-Dawson, Alan Brubaker, Mayor Russell Sharnsky, and Curtis Baker to the Transportation Improvement District Board of Trustees.
Ms. Hyam moves on M007, 2024. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
M-008-2024, a motion of council confirming the appointments of Clerk of Courts Tavia Galansky, replacing Sandra Kurt, and Brian Harnack, replacing Deborah Matz as second alternate to Executive Eileen Shapiro to the Records Commission.
Mr. Wilhite moved on M008, 2024. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
M-009-2024, a motion of council confirming the appointments of Clerk of Courts Tavia Galansky, replacing Sandra Kurt, with Heidi Swindell and Aquila Holinger, replacing Steve Bruno as alternates for Engineer Alan Brubaker to the County Information Technology Board.
So moved.
Ms. Darrow moves on M009, 2024. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
M-010-2024, a motion of council confirming the appointments of Daryl Horgan, replacing Pete Kostoff, and Andrea Norris to the Human Resource Commission.
So moved.
Mr. Smith moved on M010, 2024. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
M-011-2024, a motion of council confirming the appointments of Judge Allison McCarty, replacing Judge Catherine Michael, Clerk of Courts Tavia Galansky, replacing Sandra Kurt, and Greta Johnson, replacing Deborah Matz as alternate for Executive Eileen Shapiro to the Criminal Justice Advisory Board.
So moved.
Ms. Rogers moved on M001, 2024. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
M-012-2024, a motion of council confirming the appointments of Jill Spielman, replacing Christina Hodgkinson, with alternate Hannah Horgan, Jill Oldham, replacing Don Glennie, with alternate Joan Davison, replacing Michelle Watkins, and Judge Jennifer Tao, replacing Judge Susan Baker Ross, with alternate Carrie Defabal.
So moved.
Ms. Walters moves on M012, 2024. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
M-013-2024, a motion of council confirming the appointments of Mayor Shamus Malek, replacing Mayor Daniel Horgan, Sheriff Candy Fothery, replacing Mayor David Klein, and Township Trustee Bruce Colner to the 911 Program Review Committee.
So moved.
Mr. Wilhite moved on M013, 2024. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
M-014-2024, a motion of council approving a travel expenditure for council member Gloria Rogers in the amount of $167.50 for her attendance at the Ohio Jail Advisory Board meeting on January 26, 2024, from 10 a.m. until 12 p.m. at the State Library of Ohio, 274 East First Avenue, number 100, Columbus, Ohio, 43201.
So moved.
Ms. Darrow moves on M014, 2024. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
M-015-2024, a motion of council establishing the standing committees of the Council of the County of Summit for the year 2024.
Mr. Wilhite moved on M015, 2024. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Madam
First-
President, sorry. I just wanted to mention, we have Copley Township Trustee Bruce Colner here, and I don't know if he wanted to say anything at all. If you don't.
Sure.
Thank you. I was asked to attend in case any of the board members had any questions about background or resume. So do you want me to give a resume, or I'm already appointed, so.
We'll trust you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for your service.
Yeah, thank you for serving. Sorry for the interruption.
First readings, 2024-017, a resolution confirming the award by the Board of Control of a professional service contract with Greenleaf Family Center as a best practical source to provide assessments to identify individuals who may require enhanced court services through the Summit County Targeted Community Alternatives to Prison Program from 1/1/24 through 6/30/24, with an option to renew the agreement for an additional 6 months for a total term not to exceed 1 year and in an amount not to exceed $100,000 per 6-month term for the Executive's Department of Public Safety Emergency.
Madam President, I move to suspend the rules and adopt 2024-017.
We have a motion to suspend the rules and adopt 2024-017. On the suspension, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And on the adoption, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
2024-018, a resolution declaring the month of February 2024 as Black History Month in Summit County, recognizing the incredible accomplishments made by Black Americans in the face of adversity for the executive emergency.
Madam President, I move to suspend the rules and adopt 2024-018.
We have a motion to suspend the rules and adopt 2024-018. On the suspension, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And on the adoption, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
2024-019, a resolution appropriating funds in order to meet projected expenditures for the balance of 2024 as set forth in Exhibit A for the Executive's Department of Finance and Budget Emergency.
Madam President, I move to suspend the rules and adopt 2024-019.
We have a motion to suspend the rules and adopt 2024-019. On the suspension, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And on the adoption, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
2024-020, a resolution approving a salary adjustment for classified non-bargaining employee tariff fault for the prosecutor emergency. 2024-021, a resolution authorizing the executive to establish the intersection of Riverview Road and Boston Mills Road located in Boston Township and Council District 1A 4-way stop intersection from April 5, 2024 to April 9, 2024, and thereafter said intersection shall revert to a 2-way stop intersection with the stop signs installed for the eastbound and westbound Boston Mills Road traffic for the engineer emergency. 2024-022, a resolution confirming the award by the Board of Control of a professional service contract with Arcadis US Inc. for an engineering services task order for a 1-year term from 1/1/24 to 12/31/24, with 3 options to renew for an additional 1-year term in an amount not to exceed $175,000 for the engineer emergency. 2024-023, a resolution authorizing the executive to execute any agreements, memorandums of understanding, or other documents necessary to participate with the Village of Mogador in applying for Ohio Public Works Commission grant funding for Project Q-969-6 Herbert Street and Norwich Avenue infrastructure improvement located in the Village of Mogador in Council District 8 at a cost to the county not to exceed $75,000 for the Executive's Department of Sanitary Sewer Services Emergency. 2024-024, a resolution authorizing the executive to execute a cooperative funding intergovernmental agreement with Boston Township for construction of Project Q-165-1 Akron-Cleveland Road Sanitary Sewer Extension in an amount not to exceed $3,315,000 and authorizes the executive to apply for and execute a water pollution control loan fund loan agreement to fund the project in an amount not to exceed $2,115,000 and fund the remaining project costs in an amount not to exceed $1,200,000 from available American Rescue Plan Act funds for Project Q-165-1 located in Boston Township and Council District 1 and 3 for the Executive's Department of Sanitary Sewer Services Emergency. 2024-025, a resolution authorizing the executive to advertise for bids for the legal department renovation project for the Summit County Children's Services Administration Building located in the city of Akron and Council District 4 for an estimated amount not to exceed $300,000 for the executive's Department of Administrative Services Physical Plants Emergency. 2024-026, a resolution confirming the award by the Board of Control of a purchase contract with Wex Bank for fleet fuel, card services, and miscellaneous small vehicle expenses at Sourcewell pricing in an amount not to exceed $375,000 for the sheriff emergency. 2024-027, an ordinance amending Section 113.09 of the Codified Ordinances of the County of Summit entitled Fees for Legal Representation of Indigent Defendants by Appointed Private Counsel to require fee applications to be filed via the Ohio Public Defender online system and to update fee schedules for appointed counsel for the Executive's Department of Law and Risk Management Emergency. 2024-028, a resolution adopting the Capital Improvements Program for 2024-2029 for the County of Summit and appropriating funds as set forth in Exhibit A for the balance of projects in the 2024 Capital Improvement Plan for the Executive's Department of Finance and Budget Emergency. 2024-029, a resolution authorizing various county offices to make expenditures in a total combined amount not to exceed $105,000 for hospitality items for events to be held in 2024 for the executive emergency. 2024-030, a resolution confirming the award by the Board of Control of a professional service contract with the Amazing Cloud LLC as a best practical source for disaster recovery as a service for a one-year term from 1/1/24 through 12/31/24 for a total not to exceed amount of $82,500 for the Office of Information Technology Emergency. 2024-031, a resolution confirming the award by the Board of Control of a purchase contract with Fairline Gig as a best practical source for high-speed internet service to support the virtual court project for a one-year term from 1/1/24 to 12/31/24 in an amount not to exceed $120,000 for the Office of Information Technology Emergency. 2024-032, a resolution confirming the award by the Board of Control of a purchase contract with Zix Corp Systems, Inc. as a best practical source for a subscription license and support for Zix encryption and threat protection for email encryption and threat protection software for a 3-year term from 1/6/24 through 1/5/27 in a total amount not to exceed $163,000, $325.82 for the Office of Information Technology Emergency. 2024-033, a resolution authorizes the executive, subject to the approval of the Board of Control, to execute a purchase and professional services contract with DMT Solutions Global Corporation, DBA Bluecrest, for the purchase and installation of mail balloting equipment under the Public Cooperative Purchasing Agreement with Equalis Group and for maintenance services for a 2-year term from 1/1/24 to 12/31/25 for a total amount not to exceed $1,699,170 for the Executive and Board of Elections Emergency.
Madam President, I move to add the late filings found on the blue sheet.
We have a motion to add the late filing 2024-034. All in favor? Please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Madam President, I move to...
She's going to read it.
She'll read it as soon as we're done with this piece, then ready for the routine.
Okay, sorry.
224-034, a resolution to enter into a subaward agreement with Akron Summit Community Action, Inc. to administer payment of rental assistance from remaining Emergency Rental Assistance Act funds in an amount not to exceed $500,000 for the Executive's Department of Community and Economic Development Emergency.
Madam President, I move to suspend the rules and adopt 2024-034.
Have a motion to suspend the rules and adopt 2024-034 on the suspension. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And on the adoption, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Okay, Madam President, now I move to suspend rules and adopt routine legislation found on pages 8 through 10.
Have a motion to suspend the rules and adopt routine legislations found on page 8 through 10 on the suspension. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And on the adoption, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. There's nothing else to come before this council. We are adjourned.